Hello! If you've clicked on this video, you might be a new ESL teacher who is looking for some classroom management tips. If you're new around here, my name is Ariel and I've been teaching English as a foreign language for over a decade. During that time, I've taught English to both children and adults in school and business settings. I've also taught subjects like math, history, and science in the English language to non-native English speakers through a methodology called CLIL. These are some classroom management techniques that I have actually just discovered in the last 2 years, and they are called the Community Circle 4 Agreements. These 4 agreements come from the Tribe's Community Learning Program, and they help to create a safe, respectful, and collaborative learning environment, not just for the students, but also for the teacher. The first of these 4 agreements is attentive listening. Many of us think that listening is just with our ears, but in fact, attentive listening is listening not only with our ears, but also with our eyes and our body posture. So we listen to the person who is speaking, but we also look at them and maybe we turn our whole body in that direction. Or we're sitting up in our chair, not slouched, like you see some middle school students do during their history or chemistry lessons. The second agreement is mutual respect. Respect is something that we hear a lot, and it's a word that I don't really think we fully understand. In this context, respect means to allow other people to have opinions that are different than yours, but also be able to treat those people with kindness. So usually I bring a ball of a sports team to my lessons, and some students, they love this ball because they love this sports team, and some students don't. They hate the ball. They're a fan of the other sports team. But this ball serves as a really good example for being able to have respect for other people's opinions, even if those opinions are different than yours. And still being able to treat our friends, our teachers, our peers, everyone with kindness, whether or not their views are different than ours. The third rule is the right to pass or the right to participate. The right to pass is a built-in safety mechanism that allows the students who are feeling uncomfortable, maybe they don't feel well, or maybe they're just having a really bad day based on something that has happened outside of the classroom, to pass. If the ball comes to them and it's their turn to speak, maybe they feel really nervous or they're afraid, which can happen sometimes if you are learning foreign languages, then the student has the right to pass. Maybe there's something going on in their life outside of school and they just can't really concentrate that day. They have the right to pass. Now, some teachers might think this is just an excuse for students to get out of doing work, and you might be right. But I have noticed that by allowing students who are extremely shy or feeling uncomfortable to pass, it slowly allows them to build their comfortability and confidence within the classroom. And after a few weeks of lessons, they do start to open up and participate. It also allows for those students who are typically very active participants to kind of take a break if they are feeling like not well that day or they are having a bad day. It allows them to not feel like they have to give 100% even if they are not feeling 100%. Of course, this agreement is the right to pass or participate. So I always encourage students that it's much better to participate in the activities. We have a lot more fun if everyone joins in together. But if it's something that makes them uncomfortable, they do have the right to pass. The last of these agreements is appreciations, no put-downs. We live in a world where, especially high schoolers, tend to think it's funny anytime someone makes a mistake. Anytime someone does something a little bit different than the others, everyone loves to laugh. And this can be fun, but In an environment where we are learning languages and people are going to make mistakes, this really doesn't help with building confidence. So I encourage students to not laugh at one another's mistakes, but encourage each other to build each other up and appreciate everyone in the classroom. These 4 agreements are not necessarily rules. They're more like guidelines. These guidelines help to create a classroom environment that is respectful to one another, they feel safe, and it's also collaborative. A lot of times the teacher stands in the front of the classroom and just sort of gives directions. And there is a time and place for that. But I personally believe that in a learning environment, especially a language learning environment, we should be more collaborative and working together with our students. These 4 agreements are, as I said, they're more like guidelines. And as long as everyone abides by these guidelines, we can have a nice, fun, interactive lesson. I usually introduce these 4 guidelines at the beginning of my first lesson with a class, and then I will go back through and revise them as needed. Usually I have to remember or remind students to listen attentively and appreciate each other, no put downs. Again, these are 4 agreements that help create a very well-rounded classroom. These are something that you can apply not just within the English learning space, but you can apply them to really any learning environment, whether it's with children or adults or anyone in between. Let me know in the comments below if you decide to implement these 4 agreements into your classroom. Also, feel free to let me know if you have any comments or questions about teaching English as a foreign language or content and language integrated learning. It is something I am very passionate about and I could talk about for hours. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.